So, do you want to talk about the infidelity
We can.
part of law enforcement?
Yeah. So
It's kind of like an unspoken, like it's known, but it's unspoken.
right. So every time I got pregnant,
Whew.
he would go and cheat. And like the last, well, I'm not gonna say the last one.
We write it down.
No, right?
Because I was oblivious to everything.
But it worked out because now you have 3 kids.
We do.
You have like the whole history there.
We do.
So yeah.
We do. I mean, it was good, the bad.
But all marriages
Those
have
ain't
good,
good.
bad.
And they do.
And
I mean, yeah, they do.
but the law enforcement aspect does present its own.
It has its own challenges for sure because you're up all night worried. You're worried when they go to work. You never know what's going to happen. There's been a time I've had a police officer show up to my house because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's been shot at.
he's been shot at.
What are those conversations like when he has to? Does he call you or does he come home and say, "So, I was in a shootout today"?
So that one, I can remember that one because he was shot at that one time by that crazy lady who was trying to ram his car. And they were chasing her through a field.
That's
She
happened
ran.
a lot of times, just so you know.
I know.
I'm like, we live in fields.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only time he's ever had to actually shoot his gun.
Right.
So that was just a weird conversation. Like after everything was said and done, like I remember just calling him for something like, "Oh hey, I just blah blah," and he's like, I'm gonna have to call you back later. Like I was involved in something, and then of course panic sets in. Or like the time that there was that shootout and they were trapped.
Yeah.
I was working at the middle school. I got pulled into the office with another teacher whose husband at the time was working in the sheriff's department. And then we got told, hey, there's been an incident. There's been a shooting, and we'll let you know more later. So, I mean, how did it work?
Did they not say he's okay?
No, they don't say anything.
Really?
Yeah. And so you're worried all day. I'm like, how can you focus on what you need to do?
I didn't know they didn't say that he's okay. Like, I know that. So, like, if something were to happen to me, like, we have to sign a whole thing stating and naming somebody to tell our spouse.
Yeah. So I mean, we did get told, as of right now, nobody's hurt, but there's an active shooting right now. So at any time that could change.
Right.
So that's when they got trapped behind the car.
And that's when, so
it's been 2 I mean, he didn't have to. I don't think he had to do that, but.
So time literally stands still for you.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah. Because you're worried the whole time and like.
But at the same time, it doesn't because life is going on.
It is, and you're trying to focus.
Because everybody else who doesn't know.
And you have to pretend like nothing's happened. Yeah, so you're trying to do your job and you're working with kids, and kids can tell. They are not dumb. They know when something's wrong.
Were they coming up to you, Miss Stephanie?
They're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm fine. They're like, "Are you though? But are you?" And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And they did the same thing to the other teacher.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And like we were constantly like, she was in one wing of the school. I think I was in the other one. And I'd constantly like.
And you can't text him or call him in those moments.
No, because he's not going to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's just going to add to the.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then like there's another time he got hurt. They were actually going to meet him back out. He had they were on a search. I don't know if they were chasing somebody or looking for somebody. And they were on.
I'm sure it was one of those manhunts.
It was a manhunt, and
because those happen. When those happen, it's all hands on deck. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
Everybody. So, if there was a woman or man that's about to marry somebody that's in law enforcement, like you're looking at that person, you're like, hey, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. You got to be strong.
There are going to be times that, like, because I know my wife gets text messages from me. Things are going on. I can't talk.
Yeah, all the time.
You know,
like, hey, this is happening, can't talk.
And I know for us on the jail side, it's like fast. You know,
it just happens.
They're bringing in 3, or she'll be texting me, and then all of a sudden I'm not texting anymore.
Yeah, and it just stops, and then you're in a panic.
You're
You're like, hello, where'd you go? And like, not only that, Jason was on the SWAT team.
Yeah.
So on top of everything, he was SWAT. And so there was times where he'd call and say, I'm calling to tell you, I'll be back later. Love you. Don't call. I'll call you. I'm on a SWAT call. And I'm like, sweet. Oh, okay, be careful. Because there'll be times where they'll go assist the county, or they'll go to other counties.
Other counties.
Yeah.
There are times we need other counties' help too.
And we do have it, which is nice.
That is nice.
But I mean,
so what about the difficult things? Because
Ooh.
there are things that are seen
yeah.
that he has to deal with.
Mm.
And I don't know if anybody else does it. I know I do it. I don't know. Maybe Jason, you'll tell me. There's a disassociation.
Absolutely.
Like, I've learned how to disassociate. Like, there have been things that have happened. Okay, this is one that I've kind of put away. There was a guy who shot someone with a .357 Magnum. And if anybody doesn't know, it leaves entrance hole, tiny, exit holes, massive. And the guy came in. Jason and I were COs then.
Yeah.
On the same shift. The guy came in covered in stuff, and some of that stuff wound up in the toilet, and Jason had to
scoop it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely suffers from PTSD. 100%.
Right.
I mean, not just from...
But has he learned how to... Does he put that stuff away and just not talk about it?
So, yeah. So, he... Like, the military stuff, he won't talk about any of it.
Right.
None of it. He will not. You could ask him, and he won't tell you a thing. He will not tell you what he did. He will not tell you anything. He keeps it balled up.
It's not healthy.
It's really not. And he is on medicine now for it, which is great. But, and then, okay, so you come home and you're trying to be
normal.
Yeah, you're trying to be a
happy.
Yeah.
You know?
And,
yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now I'm a civilian. But I'm working at the sheriff's department. So now I'm seeing other things and dealing with...
I'm seeing a side of our town that...
Yeah, so you're dealing with
nobody
drugs.
else knows about.
Yeah. So you're dealing with drugs, and you're dealing with...
Imagine the dark side of Mayberry.
Yeah, that's it.
That's really it. Like,
and
so I remember when I first started at the jail and things would happen, I was like, this goes on?
Yeah. And you would not think, like, you look at that person like, them never.
But
and it is. And it's the ones you never expect. Ever. Because there's been a few. Because listen, I get on the mobile patrols and I look to see which parents have been arrested.
Yeah.
My students, and I'm like, I know you, I knew.
And their mugshots never look like how they look like in
No. And there's
day to day.
Yeah, and then some of you're shocked because you're like, they got arrested for what? And then, of course, you want to ask
fentanyl.
Yeah. And then I'm like, let me go ask Jason.
Yeah.
And he's
back when me and Jason were at the jail together, it was meth. Yeah. Meth was the big thing.
Meth was huge.
Now it's fentanyl.
Oh my god, it's so bad. But like, so he goes from I
know it's bad. But how do you know it's bad?
How do I? Because I can see it.
What do you do now?
So now I work at an allergy clinic. But still, you still see it though.
An allergy clinic.
Yeah.
I thought you said analogy. I was
No,
like, what is
an
analogy
clinic?
Yeah. I was like, what is an analogy?
What is an analogy?
I can't even say it. There's too many ends. What is an analogy clinic?
And then
analogy clinic. Allergy.
But I mean, you still know it's bad because he's been gone from sheriff's departments for 2 years. But I mean, we still know what's going on. We still have family, friends. So
How would you encourage? So, has Jason ever opened up to you
Recently.
recently?
Like, and not even full blown. It was like when he decided he was quitting. Like,
And that was because of a bad car wreck.
yes. When he finally decided he's always said, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna find a new job. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
And then of course he never did, but then he came up to me and he was like, hey, I applied for a job, and I was like, oh. He's like, no, seriously, I applied for a job, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, what?
But it was because of that, right?
It was because of it. And he said it was just a mixture of he was a
Ooh.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
Yeah, so he had to do
The things that he said they have to do in interrogation.
Yeah.
They have to pretend like, yeah, they're okay with it. Like, of course you felt that way. Of course you. I mean, I remember him telling me all this, and I was like, I don't know that I could ever do that.
Yeah. So I mean,
because, ew. Like, it turns my stomach even like.
Oh yeah, and then like
that
he'd work child cases, he would work adult cases, and then on top of it, you're dealing with OD after OD after OD after OD. You're dealing with car wrecks. You're seeing too much, and it's just there
in your face all the time.
all the time,
every shift,
all the time, and you're either doing this or you're doing that, and it's there. And then how do you deal with it? Like, how do you actually cope without losing your... And I don't know how he did it, but he held it in. I mean, he would not talk about it. Ever. And, like, when he was in Iraq, he lost one of his really good friends. And he got shot on base. And, I could tell something was going on. It was close to the wreck he had to work. And he just lost it.
And so how is that for you? Like, because you're reaching out, you're trying.
Yeah, I'm trying. And, like, I could tell something was wrong. I mean, you could tell. And then you're constantly asking, hey, do you need to talk? Do you need to do this? Do you need to do that? And it was, no.
You need therapy?
No.
You want to go to counseling? Why?
I don't know if it's something that he makes it feel so vulnerable, or I don't know. He just won't do it.
Huh.
He is on medicine though. We did. That was a huge step.
A lot of times talking helps though.
It does.
You know?
No.
Like when you finally get it out and you're like, yes, that happened. I saw that. I had to deal with that. That was not fun. It was not a pleasant experience.
Now we do go, one of his friends that was in the Marine Corps with him, that we go meet with him like once or twice a year so they can kind of talk about stuff. Which I don't know what he does and doesn't
talk about.
So, because he won't talk to me about some certain things.
Right.
But I mean, when he quit, he said, I'm at my breaking point. I can't do it no more. He goes, I